You know that little feeling in the back of your head, that nagging worry that maybe, just maybe, a robot could do your job? Yeah, it's a feeling that's popping up everywhere. But what if I told you we're all worrying about the wrong thing? Today, we're going to crack open Kevin Roos's book, Futureproof, to get to the bottom of the real threat of automation and, more importantly, figure out how we can actually thrive. And it all kicks off with a conversation that, well, most of us were never supposed to hear.
So picture this. You've got Mohit Joshi. He's the president of this huge consulting firm, right? The kind that helps big companies automate. He's at the World Economic Forum in Davos, rubbing elbows with top execs. And this is what he hears them saying. Not, let's cut 5% of the workforce. No, they're talking about a 99% reduction. I mean, wow. That one quote just rips the curtain back on what's really being discussed in those powerful rooms.
And that right there shows you this huge disconnect. I mean, publicly, you hear all this talk about collaboration and human-centered AI. It sounds great, right? But then you get behind closed doors, and suddenly the conversation shifts. It's all about total automation, turning companies into these sleek, totally worker-free profit machines. It's pretty clear the debate we see on stage is not the real debate happening in the boardroom.
Okay, so if the goal is to, well, get rid of us, what does that threat actually look like? Let me tell you, it's probably not what you're thinking.
We've all seen the movies, right? Skynet, the Terminator, killer robots taking over. And that's what we tend to fear. But Roos points out that this big cinematic fear actually blinds us to a much more immediate, much more subtle danger. We're not getting replaced by an army of droids. Nope, it's something way less dramatic and honestly a lot more effective.
It's time to meet the boring bots. Seriously, that's what he calls them. These are the completely unsexy, totally invisible AIs that companies are just pouring billions of dollars into. You've got two main types. First, the bureaucratic bots. These are the ones making huge, life-altering decisions about your loan application or your benefits, often with basically zero human oversight. Then you have the back-office bots, the software that's just chugging away, doing all the grunt work that keeps a company afloat. This, right here, is where the real automation revolution is actually happening.
And that's exactly why it all feels so invisible. It's not like a robot literally walks in and sits down at your desk. It's sneakier than that. Instead, some new software makes it possible for your company to just not fill a position when someone quits. It shows up in the budget as a cut here, a pay freeze there. It's like this slow, quiet erosion of jobs, and we almost never point the finger at a new piece of code.
And for the people who are still there, well, the very nature of their work completely changes. Just listen to this quote from a worker. It just perfectly captures that feeling of being managed by an algorithm. Imagine your boss isn't even a person anymore. It's a piece of software, tracking your every move, setting your schedule, and basically making all the decisions for you. As this person put it, it just makes you feel, well, like a dummy.
So yeah, that all sounds pretty bleak, doesn't it? But hang on, because this is where everything starts to turn around. This is the pivot. Because once you understand the real threat, you can start building the right defense. So the big question becomes, how on earth do we compete with that?
And the simple answer is, we don't. We just can't. Let's be real, we're never going to be faster or more efficient than a machine that's built to do one thing perfectly. Trying to outmachine the machine, that is a losing battle every single time. We have to find a totally different edge.
And according to Roos, our advantage is actually pretty simple. It's about being more human. It breaks down into three things. First, we need to be surprising. Think about it. AI totally chokes when it sees something new, but we humans, we thrive on novelty. Second, we need to be social. We have to tap into that deep, fundamental human need for connection, something a machine just can't fake. And third, we need to be scarce. This means doing the really high-stakes, high-trust work that absolutely requires human accountability.
And look, this isn't just some abstract theory. Let me tell you about a guy named Russ Garofalo. So Russ is an accountant, a job that has like a 99% chance of being automated away. But here's the twist. Russ used to be a stand-up comedian, and he brings that to his accounting work. He takes something boring like doing taxes and turns it into this surprising, social, and genuinely scarce experience that people are more than happy to pay for. He's not irreplaceable because he's the best at filling out forms. He's irreplaceable because he's the most human accountant they've ever met. Okay, so how do we actually apply this stuff to our own lives? Well, Ruth lays out a bunch of rules, but let's just zoom in on two of the most powerful ones, the ones you can start thinking about right now. All right, rule number 4 is pretty cool. It's called leave handprints. The idea is basically to fight that urge to be perfectly polished, like a machine.
Instead, you should lean in and make your human effort, your messiness, totally visible.
Think about hustle culture for a second. It's all about grinding, optimizing, hiding all the messy signs of effort to present this flawless final product. Well, the future-proof way is the exact opposite. It's about showing your work, embracing the imperfections, and optimizing for human connection. Why? Because the messiness, that's actually where the value is.
And get this, even Yann LeCun, who's basically one of the godfathers of modern AI, he agrees with this. He once made this amazing comparison between a $47 Blu-ray player, a piece of mass-produced tech, and a $750 handmade ceramic bowl. Now, the player is infinitely more complex to build, but the bowl is worth way more. Why? Simple. It has real human intervention. It's got handprints all over it.
Okay, the next rule is a big one. It shifts the focus away from our work and turns it inward, to our own minds. This one's about fighting an internal battle, a battle against the subtle ways algorithms are actually changing who we are as people.
Roos has a great name for this, machine drift, and you've probably felt it. It's that thing that happens when your Netflix queue starts to basically dictate your taste in movies, or your social media feed starts shaping what you think is funny or important. It's this really slow, quiet creep towards becoming more predictable, more average, more, well, machine-like.
And you might be thinking, is this really a big deal? Well, how real is it? Check out this number. 8 hours and 28 minutes. That was Kevin Roos's personal screen time on his phone in a single day. That was his wake-up call, the moment he realized just how much of his own life was being guided by this little machine in his pocket.
So he did a 30-day phone detox. He intentionally took back his time and his attention. And afterwards, his wife said this to him. And it's such a powerful reminder of what's really at stake here. Resisting this machine drift, it isn't just about being more productive. It's about reclaiming your relationships and really reclaiming your own humanity. So when you boil it all down, the most crucial point is this. Being future-proof isn't about learning to code or trying to become more like a machine. It's about the exact opposite. It's about doubling down on being human.
And here's the most important thing to walk away with. None of this is set in stone. It's not inevitable. We tend to talk about automation like it's some unstoppable force of nature, like gravity. But it's not. Every single algorithm, every robot, it's all the result of choices that people made. And that means we can choose to do things differently.
And that's really the ultimate takeaway here. Technology isn't just something that happens to us. No way. We are the ones building this future right now with every single choice we make, as workers, as customers, as citizens. That responsibility, it's on us. So that leaves us with a question, doesn't it? The path forward isn't about trying to stop technology. It's about grabbing the wheel and steering it toward a much more human destination. The future isn't written in stone. So the real question is, what handprints are you going to leave on it?